Welcome back to the Thinc Conversation. Still with me is Mr. Sonyosi Skhosana, a NAFCOC stalwart and entrepreneur. Babu Skhosana, I was saying you spoke about small businesses when we went to the break. What is small in your world in NAFCOC? What is medium in your world in NAFCOC?
Well, let me separate the definition in NAFCOC and a definition in the Act, Small Business Act.
I want us to talk about in NAFCOC. I'm more interested in what's happening on the ground.
Yes.
You know, the law can be written by Professor Mathebula.
Yes.
You know, I can write the law and write it and put it there. But I've never been in a business. So I want you who's been in a business, what is this small and medium in your world?
Well, in our world, small and medium, we talk about a business with a turnover enough to sustain that entrepreneur and his family. That is the turnover.
Wow. Yes.
It would differ from business to business.
Yeah.
And in NAFCOC, we define this in terms of sectors of business. In retail, we have a section that we call informal business. They are businesses, but they are very informal. They come and go, they are small. Some grow within a year or two. So that's a different segment.
But that's a small. But what would be medium?
That's a small.
What would be medium?
What would be medium? Anyone who employs 10 people upwards would be a medium business. And anyone who's got a turnover over a million, say $1 million per annum, would be a...
You see him as medium.
Yes, we say
in
that.
In your world.
That, yes, in our world, that would
Is it not 10 million? Because $1 million seems to be small.
It depends. That's why I say it depends on what type of industry. You see, we seem to generalize in South Africa the turnover of a bookkeeper. A bookkeeper who's operating and employs one person and is earning R1 million per annum. That's sufficient because there are no overheads. Then you come to industrialists or manufacturers. A manufacturer would have a higher turnover because his overheads are also a little bit higher because the machinery and all the other infrastructure that he needs, it's gonna be a little bit higher. Therefore, you would go to the 10 million bracket. Yes. But to us, we do not discriminate between business. We take members locally as they come. And the issue here that we always debate is who is an entrepreneur? Because sometimes we confuse this term entrepreneurs and managers in South Africa. I think that's the biggest mistake that BEE did.
Okay.
BEE created a huge confusion between managers and entrepreneurs. And for an example, if a big company formed a division and then they appointed one of their managers to manage that division, it's a business, it's a sub-business of that.
And they gave this manager
and they gave
shares.
They gave him shares.
And then he becomes a BEE.
And then he becomes a BEE.
But he's essentially a manager.
Essentially a manager.
Okay.
And he doesn't design a product. And he doesn't champion anything.
But now, Babu Skhosana, you have said three very critical things that I will be talking, by the way, in the next segment, in the next section of this series, with somebody from the National Employers Association. I think you know it. Historically white companies, family-owned. I'll be bringing them here because I want them to know, to tell us what do they think of BEE. But you said something interesting. You said a small, it's when an entrepreneur can sustain a business that takes care of his family and the business. That's small.
Yes.
Then when it becomes medium, it's when there are other people, about 10 or more people, that this business is also taking care of with their families. Yes. And then, of course, big will then go with the turnover and the numbers and all those things. How do you think economic empowerment in South Africa is supporting this small and medium, or how it should be? I want us to move there now.
First, it must recognize that these segments exist.
Okay.
Once the policy recognizes these segments, and then the policy must acknowledge and accept that they need attention, then you create support systems that give attention to those policies. Now, currently what we are doing, we are struggling in South Africa to bring down the policies that existed from defining big business as conglomerates. So in other words, if you run one big industry and you employ 500 people, you're not yet big. But if you, as long as you are not linked to the conglomerates. Now conglomerates categorize themselves into smaller business. You take a big business like maybe ShopRite. They've got small shops and they manage them differently. Although those small shops
are part of a bigger thing.
Are part of a bigger thing, and they put into the kitty. And those small shops get a support from the bigger brother. But they do the same.
But why is it, Prof. Skhosana, that then foreign nationals come in and they do exactly what Checkers is doing in front of your eyes? What about them is different from what you are doing as NAFCOC members? What about them? Because they come and do exactly what ShopRite are doing in front of you.
Let me put it this way, is that foreign nationals come with a different resilience than that we have. And I want to take you to one of the industries, the taxi industry in South Africa. Taxi industry is the only industry that is driven by blacks. And you only find black people. And
driving them. And is it owning them too?
Owning.
Okay.
Yeah, they're owning taxis, majority, and they are driving them, and they grow and hire other drivers, and then...
But I want us to come back to why are foreign nationals, because we have about 5 minutes to wrap up. Why are they succeeding in front of you?
Foreign nationals have got a different skill, and they've got a different attitude towards business.
What is that?
What they have is that they come here with a vision that is not contaminated by political issues and local issues. They only look at the business.
So they don't think about their blackness, their Pakistaniness, their whatness. They just come in straight, they do business.
They come straight and do business.
Yeah.
So they've got no concern over the local issues.
But why
they are not worried about the tax issues.
Why are you guys not doing that?
We can't do that because we are going to be arrested.
Okay.
We become a target. And I want to give you a quick example. When construction people group themselves, and decide how they're going to do business, they are called construction mafia.
Okay.
And they get whipped
Okay.
by the government. When the trucking people see an opportunity of transporting water within government
They become a
tender
mafia.
system, they become a mafia. And they get hit by the government. So in other words, foreigners are not a target. Local entrepreneurs are enemies and targets
Wow.
of the government.
But before 1994, we had institutions like Mutsuenyane came with the African Bank, there was Black Chain,
Yeah.
there was Mzamo Muliko, the Kunene brothers with the big Coca-Cola depots, Kaiser Mtaung with Kaiser Chiefs, you know? I mean, Kaiser Mtaung is a very
Yes.
successful entrepreneur, and many others. And they were not called mafias, but they succeeded. What is different from what those guys did and what you should be doing? I just want us to move there.
Look, the competition from those type of businesses, let's say African Bank. African Bank struggled. It took Dr. Mtsuenyane more than 10 years to establish a bank.
But he
It wasn't easy.
But he did.
But he did ultimately.
Yeah.
And where is the bank now?
Okay, it's a different story.
It's a different story.
Yeah.
But he did. So currently, there are a lot of efforts that are put by entrepreneurs to try and do that. And they just get squashed on the way.
Babu Skhosana, we unfortunately had little time, and I wish I could have more time with you, given your wisdom. But thank you for your insights to make this thing. This topic does not end today. This brings us to the end of this edition. Thanks to Mr. Sonyosi Skhosana. Economic empowerment is the last frontier of the liberation promise in the negotiated Constitution of South Africa, and maybe the very last mile of the long walk to freedom by Nelson Mandela and others. It is arguably the main issue delaying our social cohesion as a nation. It is so emotive that our enemies, or enemies of our democracy, enemies of our civilization, enemies of the state, enemies of our nationhood, use economic empowerment to divide us. I mean, black economic empowerment to divide us. It revives racism. It stokes xenophobia. It has now become a geopolitical issue used to undermine our moral authority as a stable democracy. This conversation will engage several other thinkers to build consensus and contribute to a national dialogue. This is Lucky Mathebula, Thinc Conversations on BDTV. Thank you.